So we're going to talk about projectors now for those of you just joining, but just a quick word. So yes, you stay the same aura type your whole incarnation. People have criticized before saying, well, isn't human design just putting people in a box? Here's what I want to say to that. If you're in a body, you're in a box.
Straight up. It's just a highly evolved, geometrically sound box.
You like that, right? So this system gives you the cheat codes and the owner's manual of how to operate that box so you can transcend it and know yourself beyond that box for eternity. It's not like, oh, now because I know human design, I have to be Michelle Gaza, the 6'3", manifesting generator for all time, and I am nothing beyond that. No. It's just saying, I'm playing this part in the 3D, 4D, 5, you know, maybe to a certain dimension before the names change and everything. Then you get to oversouls. But it's just, well, how can I be this Michelle Gaza and get the most satisfaction and peace out of it as a manifesting generator? So that's what this is providing. Okay, I think we're almost ready with the projector thing, and I'm trying to really stay focused. So we're going to do projectors and then reflectors. Thank you for those of us who've stayed, for those of you who've stayed with us all this time. We're going to go into the projectors now. So this is the first two were the energy types, manifestors and generators. The projector is the first non-energy type we're going to discuss.
Yes.
Okay, excuse me, Lucian. Yay! So welcome to the projectors. These people make up only 20% of the population. They are designed to specialize. They have a focused, absorbing aura. So if you've met somebody and it feels like they can just tap into you and read you, or maybe you feel something a little weird going on with their aura, like this person is, you know, what is it I'm feeling? Like with the manifestor, you can feel a certain pressure, but with the projector, it's something else. And you have this uncanny sense that they like can see inside you. They can. They feel, they absorb, getting too excited. Okay. They absorb information about you, and then they are here to ask, who are you? They learn about self through the other. So they can tap into, you know, the rest of us, but because of their position as the non-energy being, like the coach on the sidelines, they have certain insight, so they can guide the generators to use their energy more efficiently, with more satisfaction, for the manifestors to have more peace, and so forth. Kevone is one of our favorite projectors.
Yes, yes. So, focus aura. Now, you know, I've been waiting on this. I've been waiting. Talk about my projector.
Oh, Alfred is here.
Oh, Uncle Alfred. Yeah, there we go. We got my family up in here.
Yay.
So,
okay, thanks, Kay.
Definitely appreciate family showing up. Because I know, you know, a lot of us, we talk about not, you know, the family members is pretty much, they always know that it's like the last people, you know, it's kind of the last people we got, you know, it's time to wake up all the way, you know, just, you know, giving this information to your family. So, you know, a big shout out for my Uncle Alfred, you know, for showing up, and I appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you for being here. So, projectors. Focused aura. Projectors, we are. I'm gonna let you know what we are not. We are not the workers. Mm-hmm. We are not the builders. We are not the initiators. We can play on the field for a little bit, but how many coaches do you know that are on the
like
basketball
running
court?
Laps and
how many coaches do you know that put on helmets and they suit up? You know, how many coaches you know build houses and, you know, are electricians, and like how many coaches, you know? Our job in this reality, you know, it's kind of weird though, because, you know, I'm a man. So as a man, you were taught to be a certain way, or you know, or to have a certain type of fierceness about you. But projectors, we're non-energy, and we're not supposed to be fierce. We're supposed to be aware. You know, we are the doctors. We are the spiritual doctors. Like, we are the ones, like she say, when we go in, because our aura is focused. But what it is focused and absorbing, and it's kind of like a plug. So everyone that we speak, everyone that we see as projectors, this is the reason why a lot of us, we don't like to stare at people.
Yes, and I watched this happen in real life.
So what happens is when wherever you focus your attention, your aura is attached to your, like I would just say, just keep it real easy, your eyes. Wherever your eyes go as a projector, your aura will follow. So as you literally focus in on somebody, I mean, you can test it out. You can be driving down the street and you can just look at somebody on the street and they'll just turn and look at you. And you like, what the heck? Because it's a beam. It's literally like a beam. That beam is meant to be focused on whatever area within the person's body that needs the help or is trying to kind of call out for attention. So one of our key things as projectors is recognizing people, recognizing the other, recognizing yourself. You see, I had to recognize that I was a projector so that I can literally start to do my job. So we are literally like the doctors of the reality.
Yes.
It's hard for us to kind of just focus on ourselves. So whenever you come around a projector and it may seem as though the projector is only talking about themselves or they're thinking about themselves, you got to know we're really thinking about you. And we just need to eat.
And that 90% of the problems with projectors can be solved if you just make them a home cooked meal.
Yes, we need food.
This.
We need a place to stay. We need a car to drive in. We need to be invited to go have fun with everybody else and join in on the party. So, but as projectors, I mean, imagine having a doctor, a surgeon coming following you around everywhere you go, and their special ability is to figure out what's not right within people's energy fields. Mm-hmm. So everywhere you go, you kind of like just picking things apart, and you're seeing what can be fixed or what can be adjusted. So the projectors, as you can see, it's a different way that we view the reality. And if you know who we are and you know who your closest neighborhood projector is, then you might want to go and just show a little love, give him a little hug, or him or her a little hug, because we absorb everything. We absorb everything. Like when you're talking about being empathic. We were born empathic because, I mean, literally our job is to absorb you.
Like Kevone is, he has a defined solar plexus, which means he's emotionally defined. So emotionally, I'm the empath in the relationship. But he has only 3 defined centers. And I have, 5 defined and 4 undefined? Mm-hmm. So he's empathic to me on all those other levels. And the issue with projectors is, since most of us are generators and somebody asked what the number is, this means the percentage of the population that is this type. So it's approximately 21% really that are projectors. So, they're not the rarest type, but they're not the most common type. Generator is the most common type. So most of us are generators. You have a projector child. They don't, the gym teacher is giving them Fs. They're getting it, or they're like Kevone and they have like a specialty. Like he was basically could have been in the Olympics.
I'll tell you what we do. Yeah. Just try to remember that thought.
Yeah.
As projectors, what we do just simply for survival is we become athletes. We become super athletes. We become
super not self.
Super not self. Like we try to go out. We literally try to manifest. We try to become generators. We try to become Well, we don't really try to become reflectors, because when I talk about that's a whole nother ball game too. But the projectors, we want to fit in, but what it is we know innately that we're supposed to guide the energy. So projectors and generators, we kind of work hand in hand. So a lot of the projectors at first, when you're young, you kind of you don't want your child to be alone. You don't want them to feel like they're so separate and so different. So you put them out there on the football team, or you put them out there on the basketball team. And this projector, he ended up being the MVP. He ended up being one of the best people on the team. But these are the people that burn out. I'm not in the Olympics right now, but I could have went. But I was feeling burnt out like way earlier in my 20s, and I was winning everything. But it didn't feel natural for me.
Yeah, the projector can be a gold medal athlete, but they are, if they're really aligned with self and really paying attention to their energy, more often than not, they're going to be more comfortable as the coach, because they're non-energy beings. So look, with the football metaphor. So we got all these generators out there getting slobber knocked on the field. We're running around, getting hit, throwing the ball, chasing the ball, going through the energy life. And we feel it, and we have a real visceral, vivid experience of that. But imagine now you have someone on the sidelines who's not going through all that. So they're not getting spun around in the same way. They can have this certain perspective, kind of like from a chair, watching everything. And so then they give this perspective to the generators to help them get better at what they're doing. But it really isn't the job of the projector to run around. Now, different projectors have different designs. Some projectors have a lot of defined centers, and they're going to be more busy.
Yeah,
So we're just speaking with Kevone. He's a very open example. So, but if you want to be an athlete as a projector, you can, but you're going to probably be the sprinter, or like in Kevone's case, he was a long jumper. And he could jump like 27 feet, literally. But his soul really wanted him to be a guide because he has a specific job. And, maybe had he done that, he wouldn't know about human design now. And we wouldn't all be benefiting from this. So projectors, what happens usually is they have generator parents or some energy type parent that tries to get them to go out there. You're going to get sick if you don't exercise. You need to move around. Go be a manifestor or go be a generator. And it creates a lot of suffering. So when projectors get their readings, there's a real similar response of like, thank God I'm finally being recognized.
Yes.
Because usually what happens is you're getting pushed in the group, especially when you're young, because you haven't specialized yet. You're not getting any good invitations. You just have to go along, and nobody recognizes you, or they give you negative recognition because you're not waiting for your invitation. You're butting in, and people don't like that. Now, if you're a parent and you have a child that's trying to tell you what to do all the time, they're a projector.
Yeah.
You can have a 5-year-old trying to tell a 40-year-old how to run their life. If the 5-year-old is a projector, we see it.
Yes.
It's a real thing. But that is their role, to be the guide. So if you know a projector, if you are a projector, you just got to have... Now, this is a work in progress. Kevone is a projector, but sometimes I'm like, you got to wash the dishes right now because I'm not washing the dishes. So, that's why when I said earlier, the issues in our relationship, it has very little to do with the issues of this world, like race and class. It comes in, but our real issue is that he's a non-energy type and I'm a huge energy type. But as a generator, I have reliable energy, but that doesn't mean it's unlimited. So I do get tired, and since we travel a lot, sometimes I'm the only generator around. So he has to compromise and be flexible, But at the end of the day, knowing you're a projector, it is a get out of jail free card. And one of our clients, her daughter's a projector, and she's like, well, is this just an excuse? And Kevone said, yeah, it's an excuse for her to get out of being the not self at all times. Yes. And you should have an excuse to get out of being the not self, because we want you as a projector to be yourself, because when you are and you're following your strategy, waiting for the invitation, you are such a gift to all these generators getting knocked about, because you can come in like, oh, let me tell you this guidance, and suddenly you're following your design and like all your dreams are coming true. That's projectors guiding us to that typically.
Yes, because we have the view of the field. So a lot of times, we get accused of being a goody two shoes or a know it all, or it's like,
yes,
they say, oh, you giving me this advice, but you're not following it. I'm not supposed to follow it. I'm not a generator.
The coach is not supposed to run. The coach doesn't do the drills with you.
Yes.
Right? He watches your technique, though. He'll watch you. And isn't it valuable? I mean, you're a generator. You're supposed to be about yourself. Imagine there's another human being who's willing to be about you and give you like magical insight. Now, Kevone learns about himself through the other. So that doesn't mean Kevone is literally, he doesn't like, abandon himself. Mm-hmm. But he learns about himself through the other. So hence projector, there's this projection field, and that's how you learn, because you're going through this.
Yes. So, definitely, projectors, even though we're non-energy types and we might not have the energy, or it's a real deep thing when the whole world is based on money and energy, and you're a non-energy type. You don't like overtime. You try to get out of work is way more than anybody that you can possibly know. It's hard for us to save up for retirement because it's hard for us to keep that job for that long because we're not really meant to do that. You know, we're not consistent with our energy. And this is where the biggest issue is when it comes to the reality, because a lot of people want consistency. You know, generators, they're used to consistency. Once that energy builds up within the generator and then they accept that contract, they can work that job for 30 years. They can be married for 20, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Like, those are generator relationships. And projectors, because generators are like our partners in crime, we feel their energy the most, and we know how good it feels to have that partner or to be connected with that free-flowing source. So projectors, you can run into the issue of vampirism. So all of the vampires out there in the world, you better believe that they are projectors. Because projectors are trying to get that dang
message.
Right. So if you are a projector,
and they're not just vampires; they're extremely intelligent ones who can like manipulate you.
Yeah, because like
if only if you don't follow your design and strategy.
If you don't follow,
only if you're up here. Then if you are up here, the projector wins. They just are going to win.
Yeah, and this is the reason why we're a different type of empath. When I say we're true empaths, even though I have a defined solar plexus, which is my emotional center, because I'm a projector, I plug in, I pull your whole system. It doesn't even matter if I have a defined system. It doesn't block out your solar plexus. So I can still feel your emotional energy, your mind, your throat. Like, I can really gain supreme inner insight into you. You know, depending on how good my skills are. So as projectors, we are that sounds like a coach. You know, the therapist. You know, the teacher. You know, working at one-on-one. So projectors, a lot of us, we do a lot of one-on-one. This is the reason why you don't see me speaking and doing a lot of group talk type stuff. It's because I'm more of a one-on-one, because I can only plug into one person at a time. So understanding that you being a projector, you have to be patient, even with your teaching, even with your guiding, you know, because you can only plug into one person at a time.
So this is the thing, and back to the forgiveness thing.
Oh yes.
If people didn't know it was such a thing as a projector or a generator or manifestor, we gotta forgive everybody. So we kind of joke about the vampire thing, but there are projectors who, you know, I had a teacher who was a projector who had some very high teachings, but also fell into some like very low vibration manipulation because he didn't he knew he was working with something different than the average person, but he didn't understand the aura types and all this. So if you don't know what's going on and you don't have your own life force energy, that's just the reality of it. You don't. Now some people have defined roots and emotions where you there's other places to get energy, but you have an open sacral center. So just as a quick aside here, when you look at your chart, jovianarchive.com, get your free chart. You got to fill in your birth data to get your chart. So this is not a guessing game, that you can actually get this information. It's based on your birth date, time, and location. So the projector, you know, they have an undefined sacral center. When we say undefined, that means it's like this fan behind us. That's why we probably have the fan in here. That's an undefined center. A defined center would be a fan that's on.
Well, technically.
Well, it at least has its own power to go. It might be on and off, like an emotional wave, but it does have the ability to do it on its own without anybody else's energy field. An undefined center isn't really moving unless it's just been impacted by someone else's defined center. So
And then it's moving times two.
Then it amplifies.
Yeah, it's amplified.
So, like, for example, I'm open in the solar plexus. If I get around somebody, they're in the high point of their wave or the low point of their emotional wave, I'm feeling it double. Even, frankly, sometimes when it's positive, it doesn't even feel that good. Because if I'm not naturally there, it doesn't feel natural for me to match it. So I just, when you have these undefined centers, you have a different relationship with the energy because you take it in and amplify. So that's why projectors, you're going to be attracted to these juicy generators, because generators, how we feel this life force energy. We can run marathons. Imagine somebody getting around us who doubles up that energy. It's like a juicy peach, So, and the thing is, if a projector is operating correctly, generators are going to be happy to share their life force energy, because what the projector brings is such a, particular perspective, and it's of great value.
Yeah, we're here to lead you to your satisfaction, which is the only reason why you chose to be a generator.
Yeah.
The projectors, literally, our only job is to lead generators. This is one of our main jobs. It literally is to lead generators into satisfaction. Generators, because they represent the chunk of the society, we choose to work with them more so than the other types, just because they have a lot of the, it's just a lot of the issues.
We get the most stuck.
We get the most slack.
That's just like how it is. Generators get stuck. Exactly. Generators become slaves.
Yeah, so that's not cool.
If somebody comes along that can get you out of that, and they're not even telling you about any type of violence required, that's pretty valuable.
Yes.
I mean, Kevone gave me a reading, and 30 days later, he moved in with me in Chicago. He moved to another state because it was so valuable what he was bringing. I was like, well, you could just come and move in. Just come on. And fortunately we had this information. So, that was obviously a really intense transition on a lot of levels. But, it was made much easier because I already knew he was a projector. He knew I was a manifesting generator, and he was going to have to deal with all this and the flaky pass and the hope pass and all that stuff. And I just want to, somebody asked me, do projectors get a hope pass? See, this
we should. No,
they should, but
I saw something earlier. Zara said something about She said something about projectors. Do they complain a lot? And I was yes, heck yeah, because a lot of the times we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We say yes to a job that we hate, or a relationship that we just don't agree with, or we're forcing ourselves to be around people who, when we plug into them, they make us sick, and because we have this homogenization, we have this I'm connected to my tribe and I can't ever let go, because that will be me abandoning somebody. Because we have that, we put ourselves in positions to complain a lot. If we just say no and we only accept the invitations, that actually matches our vibe and our aura, then we won't complain. We won't complain. But yeah, we will. We do complain.
See, I'm laughing because I have this thing in my chart about divine dissatisfaction, so I will complain, and he gets on me about it.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad he's saying this.
Yeah. No, we do complain.
It's like somebody said earlier. Somebody said something about fierceness or something with the projector, or you said it. You said, "Oh, we're not such a." What word did you use? Did you say a fierce energy?
Well, we're not a fierce energy. We're a direct energy.
That's what I was going to say. I wanted to clarify because, they're like a surgeon's knife. Yes. So this is why the projector has to wait for the invitation, and why they end up bitter when they don't. Because imagine you are like world-class surgeon, and this has happened to you projectors. You know how to save people from cancer and like cure diseases and fix people's diets and read them their human design. Like you have all this, and I'll get to the hope pass thing. You have all this that could literally like save a life, and nobody's asking. Nobody wants to hear from you. And then when you try to tell it, the manifestors repel you. The generators start to, they don't respond well. You have to wait for the invitation because you are like spiritual surgeons. If I'm going to get surgery, you're not going to walk up to me in the grocery store and start cutting. You're going to say, okay, let's make a date. I want you to not eat for 12 hours beforehand. I want you to follow these protocols. We're going to do it in a sterile environment. You're going to agree, you know, you're going to invite me to do this surgery on you. What happens a lot of times is projectors, they know they're different, but they don't know their strategy. So they go and impose, and they just try to start coaching. Like, this has even happened to me on the street. This has happened to me a lot of times, probably because I'm a 6'3". They're like, oh, she's a mess. That manifesting generator, let me go. And they'll, you know, try to give me readings or stuff like that. And if I didn't invite it, you know, I had a teacher who used to do this, and he'd leave, like, trails of tears. He'd go up to random people in restaurants and start, like, going inside them and, like, bringing up this deep stuff, and they'd start crying. And I'm like, man, I don't know. And he's like, well, they're never going to see me again. So you can get a chip on your shoulder. Oh, I'm so special. I have to, because they don't even recognize me, so I have to let them know who I am. Whereas if you just sit back, there is nothing sexier than a projector who knows their value, who sits back. If they're not getting the invitation, great. Nobody's asking you to work.
Let me go ahead and sit back. I want to be sexy right now.
Sit back. And he knows eventually I'm going to shut up and he's going to talk because he's the human design coach. And I know that he has something deep to say, right? So in the meantime, if I'm not inviting him, you know, he can be doing his meditations. He can be practicing his out-of-body experiences. He could be playing video games. He could be reading human design. You specialize. When you're not getting the invitation is because it's time for you to build your skills. And then you will get an invitation because on the astral, a light goes off and your aura is your resume. That's for everybody. Your aura is your resume.
Yes.
So now you're like literally what do they call it? The lighthouse? You're a lighthouse. You're studying. You just completed the human design book. You turn your light on. Bang. Invitations. Clients. Workshops. But if you're sitting there being bitter and trying to insert yourself without having an invitation and you haven't finished your human design book, well, what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to be recognized. You're going to be showing this half-assed version of yourself so people aren't even understanding who you are. It's awkward. It feels bad. You're bitter. And it just spirals down. You can spiral down like a generator.
Yes.
So wait for the invitation because you are, what you have to bring, it's worth you waiting for you to get the right invitation because what you have is, it's so important. So respect yourself. Really respect yourself because it's not a joke. Like you have something really, really profoundly valuable to bring to us.
Yes, and if you respect yourself, then your family and your friends will start to respect you. And this is the way it rolls, you know, and I think this is the game that we have, this is just the lesson we have to learn as projectors. You know, you'll have family and friends that will push you in every single direction until you stand up for yourself and let them know who you are. Because you recognize yourself for who you are. And you know your importance. So, you know, and we're all important, you know, at the end of the day. It's just we have to come together. You know, this thing is about, it's about unity. You know, it's about individual self-leadership, but it's also about unity at the end of the day. We're only learning this stuff about ourselves so that we can come together properly. So, I think...
well, can we talk about the Hope Pass?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's so funny.
Also, wait. Before that, I'm remembering
I like
too.
the comedy, so I'm like ready for it.
Yeah, before astrology, somebody asked something about how does astrology fit in with this human design.
Oh, okay.
And astrology, if you actually see your chart, there's the sun, the moon, the earth, Jupiter, Saturn. So it's actually within the chart itself. But it is a synthesis of these systems. So you have to know that it's not astrology, it's not the I Ching, it's not the Kabbalah. It's a synthesis of all of those. So,
it eats all of that for breakfast
yes.
and then spits out a whole new synthesized system.
Yeah, so this is the knowledge of the form. You know, and the form is the actual body that you're in. So this is the knowledge of the body that you're in. This is why it's so complete. When you see your chart, you'll see a left, a right, and then you'll see something in the middle. And I call it the Trinity of information. It's like this is because we are a walking Trinity. So you will have the personality, you'll have the unconscious design, and then you'll have the actual driver of the vehicle. So the human design gives you this complete knowledge. It gives you wholeness. You know, so if you guys know anything about that word, you know, this is where we're heading. We're transcending the duality, you know, so that we can be more whole within. So meaning you have awareness of the left brain, you have awareness of the right brain, and you also have awareness of the middle soul self, the spirit self that's kind of guiding the ship. So this is a part of the undercurrent of the knowledge, you know, of what's going on within the human design. So it's pretty deep.
Can manifestors have projector attributes? Yes, because you're open.
And we both have undefined.
You both have open sacrals, yeah.
Yeah, open sacral center.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you both see, you're like a heat-seeking missile. You want the defined sacrals because you want. Who doesn't want the warm, enveloping generator aura?
Yeah.
It's like the stereotypical sweet grandmother, like, you know, making cakes and good vibes and not putting pressure and just feeling good. Like, it's awesome to be a generator. You basically are designed to, like, just feel good all the time, and then dream about what else would make you feel good, and then it will come. Maybe
you just let it come to you.
Just
like,
let
I
it
gotta
come
do something
to you.
about that. That's just so. The magical life of a generator is, oh my gosh.
Manifestors don't have the luxury of letting it come to them. They actually have to initiate to operate properly. Projectors, it will come to you, and people are saying it's so hard when you're always being overlooked. And I know that that's really painful and lonely, especially in a body that has no life force energy, and just on a physical level, you know. And also, I remember even reading something. I lived alone for a long time, and our nervous systems aren't designed to be alone for long periods of time. You know, we're designed to be, and when more you learn about human design, we are really this intricate, you know, design that's supposed to operate together, and we all bring things to the table. Everybody has special gifts, you know, everyone is valuable. It's just we have different roles. And for those of you just joining, we're talking about the projectors. We've already discussed the manifestors and the generators. We're talking about projectors, and shortly we're going to go to the reflectors. And then if anybody still has stamina, we'll answer questions at the end. But the hoe pass issue. So manifesting generators get a hoe pass because they have to test the waters before they can know if something is correct for them. So they have to be, you know, real careful, like buying a house and stuff. Go visit it many times before you sign a contract. Relationships, you got to sleep with them before you commit. I'm sorry. Now, projectors. This is the thing you got to know. You have to be invited in a relationship, and you have to be invited out.
Yep.
So a little, like, and you can, you know, you can just, projectors, you can kind of get out of anything because of your role, but it's going to be a lot of static, and you have to wait for your partner to basically invite you to leave if it's not working. So, I mean, you should probably speak more on that, like, about how you used or misused the hoe pass in the not self days.
It don't work. First of all, the hoe pass don't work for projectors. You know, because the issue with projectors is everybody. This is the issue. I mean, I think we should just be in open relationships anyway. Like projectors, I believe we mess up when we really try to lock ourselves down. You know, but at the same time, because we work so intimately with the energy types, we might have to work with a specific energy type for a couple years. You know, like we don't do the bouncing around. It's not really. It's not gonna be you bouncing around from this person to that, because you don't have the energy.
Yes.
Like, this is for real when I say you don't have the energy as a projector to do it. It looks good on the outside. You might think about it, fantasize about it, but put it into motion. You know, try to being a projector man, and try to have at least 10 women. Try to have 5 to 10 women or something like that, and try to go around, and you will see you will see the old man that will show up within your body in a couple years. You know, projectors, we experience burnout. And this is the difference between a lot of the other types. We literally get burned out because we don't know when to stop. Because we don't have the defined sacral, and because we're so absorbing and we can feel the energy so divinely, we can feel it so good, and we can amplify it. We don't ever like to let it go, and then what happens is it burns us out. So a lot of projectors, we have burnt out kundalini. You know, that energy, we burn our kundalini out early.
Like Michael Jackson.
Like Michael Jackson. You know, so he's a very good example of someone, you know.
He's a projector.
So you can see why they say, oh, Michael Jackson, a lot of people thought he was gay or he wasn't really into women like that. It's because if he would, like, I don't think he was gay, but if he was really, 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 really into women, he would have died in his 20s.
Yeah, if he accepted all the invitations.
Too many. It's too many. Everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to give it up to him. So So as a projector, we literally we work with the energy, just specifically through times. And I feel like when it comes to relationships, just when you lock yourself down, not being flexible, because sometimes you might have to work with another person or another person over here, but it don't, in my experience, it just doesn't happen how you would normally, like a generator, like a manifesting generator. Your magnetic aura, you can be magnetizing different partners and different people to experience all the time. With projectors, we're so specific. Like we only
it takes longer to get the invitation. I think.
Yeah, because we're literally meant for certain people. Like certain people, we're
generators are a
people.
lot more
open. More,
it's just more. It's an enveloping aura, so it's like fits.
It's accepting and everything. Projectors. Now, if you're a projector woman, the issue with that is you don't like to be penetrated. Because the aura for the projector goes out. It goes out and it goes out and it plugs in. So as a projector woman, you have an issue with penetration. You see, so it's important to know, your energy, because the projector woman is not trying to get a hoe pass, because she don't like to get penetrated. Like she wants to do every projector, our energy wants to do this. It wants to go in and look at this person, to go in. So as a woman, you have to be extra open. You have to surrender even more as a projector woman. So it's not really that easy, because it's a weird little thing you have around being penetrated by energy. So.
And for, as to the hoe pass thing and like the flexibility, so like basically in our relationship, Kevone is a coach, and a lot of you have had sessions with him. It's very intimate work, like extremely intimate. So, at the very least, we have to have like an emotionally polyamorous relationship in that sense, because otherwise he would have to really stop himself and hold back in the readings. And that's with everybody too. I mean, I've seen grown men cry in readings because this material is so powerful, especially when you get your individual reading. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, which we're giving you gold right now, but there's like a lot of frosting.
We got platinum, we got diamonds.
Exactly. So, rubies, quartz crystal. So with a projector, you can, negotiate. Like, see, you can negotiate. You're the one negotiating the contract that the generator has to get into. So you're part of the process. And yeah, you can get stuck. And actually, the other issue about the hoe pass, the manifesting generator doesn't know until they get their feet wet. The projector doesn't really know for 7 years if they're in the correct relationship or not.
Yeah, and that's a deep one. And
we
don't know. We know everything.
It's a real freaky thing, especially if you're getting in a relationship with a projector, like, and you're a manifesting generator. You're like, test running this thing, and, I mean, we have a good relationship. I'm very satisfied. I love him very much. But, we also have these tools. So we can work through, we are very different energy types. I mean, fortunately, we have a lot of similar interests. Like, he's into, like, mind-blowing spiritual information. I'm totally into that. I'm into decolonization and giving you, like, the quickest, deepest formulas. He's totally into that. But, it's a big process you have to go through as a projector, because you have to, you gotta be invited in and out. And somebody said, well, how do you get out? Well, what will happen is your partner will really start to make the energy so bad that you get pushed out. But that is the invitation. Like,
it'll be just so bad.
Like, the invitation will basically look like this energetically. I don't care anymore, and I'm gonna make your life hell, and that's my invitation for you to leave. That's like how it will happen. Yeah, the 7-year itch is a real thing for projectors. So learning to wait for them. Kevone was celibate for 3 years. Then one day I went to the park and I was like, okay, look, this is what I want. I want this, this, and this. I want an earth sign, blah, 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 blah. And a couple days later, he inboxed me.
Oh, yeah.
It came in so quickly like that because he had done his work. Now, you tell a projector you got to be celibate for 3 years. Typically, they're not going to be too hot about that. That's not going to sound like an exciting invitation. No. But if we say to you something like that, we're not saying what anybody should do. But if you did some sort of, withdrawal phase like that so that you can specialize and clear out the not self stuff, because you're carrying, you don't even know who you are sometimes as a projector because you've got everybody else's crap in there and you're trying to process and blah, blah, blah. You still have a self and you matter. And even though you learn about yourself from the others, the stuff that you're dealing with in other people, that really is your stuff. It's just getting projected into the energy being. So it is your stuff.
I'm sorry.
And I know, I know.
I'm just laughing at Mama Soul. This ain't this ain't some of y'all in these whole pastors. This ain't whole design. You right. You're right. You see the projectors stepping in there trying to guide the energy
He's like,
in the right direction.
Let's keep it clean.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's keep it clean.
Guide it back to the cleanliness.
Guiding it back to the cleanliness. Fellow projector nation.
But you see what I'm saying about the emotional, like sexuality is a big issue for us as beings. And I have to have enough flexibility that, you know, Kevone has a lot of beautiful women clients. I'm talking about a lot. And I have to be accepting that he's going to be speaking about, you know, things like sex and relationships with them, and it's, you know, and hope passes. But, that's something that we constantly work on. And, at the end of the day, we just work on being real and honest with each other and being flexible and staying in the heart. So I don't know what's going to need to happen in our relationship, but I know what's happening today. And I actually have an activation in my chart where I have to constantly renegotiate contracts all the time. So we're just like a constant work in progress. But because I understand his role, I give him the space to do that.
Yes.
And if I didn't understand, I could get very insecure because he's constantly going in and having these really deep connections with other people all the time. But a projector has to do that. So understanding boundaries, another thing. Now, this is true for everybody, but especially projectors. Sleep in your own bed.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
This will save a relationship. Manifestors, everybody really. When you sleep next to somebody, put your arms out to the side and then double the length of your arms. That's the size of your aura. So when you sleep at night, you're dipping in your neighbor's aura downstairs. You're dipping in whoever's in the bed with you. So periodically, at least, if you can sleep by yourself, especially projectors and anyone with a lot of open centers, it will help you just to get that conditioning out. And then you can have, otherwise, like, your dream life, everything can be totally conditioned by this person next to you. And sometimes that's interesting. I mean, Kevone, by the way, is a lucid dream OBE coach. That's another story for another time. But he has like a whole other life on other dimensions that he's consciously aware of. I know that I have other stuff going on, but I don't have the same activations and setup like he does, where he has like conscious control. I have to work really hard to like lucid dream and stuff. I have to like really be focused. So, anyway, so the sleeping thing is a real thing, and a lot of relationships could be saved if you, yes, professional cuddler. So, typically we do sleep in the same bed, but from time to time, we try to arrange our life so that as much as possible we can have separate bedrooms so that, he can have a break from my manifesting generator energy and I can have a break from his emotional wave. Because for those of you who are undefined in the solar plexus, being around a lot of other emotionally defined people, it can really... It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And everybody needs to just step away and get out of the homogenization and just deal with your own energy. So, let's see. Projectors, so, okay, we should move on to the reflectors because we are just... wrap it up. The time is moving on.
With the projectors, with the reflectors.
David, don't worry. We're going to keep this up on Facebook, and then we will, we're going to upload it to YouTube. That's the plan.
Yes.
Are all generators? No, not all generators are there's manifestors, there's generators, and then there's a hybrid type called manifesting generators, who are really generators. They have to operate as generators. So the generator sheet I put up before, this is still for you as a manifesting generator. But depending on the design, some manifesting generators are a lot more like manifestors, and some are really generators who can have manifestor tendencies, given the right circumstances. Okay. Yeah, projectors, you don't want to sleep alone. I know.
Shit.
But see, this is the thing. But look what happens when you do. Kevone slept alone to the point where he's had hundreds of out-of-body experiences on purpose.
Yeah, not it wasn't like I did this on my own. Like I wanted to learn. I was trying to conquer my fear of death. I wanted to know what happens when a person when the spirit or the soul leaves the body. And through my research, I learned that having out of body experiences is the safest way to kind of experience the out of body state without actually dying. So I wasn't getting invited anyway. So while I wasn't getting invited, that was the only thing that I had left. You know, I was celibate at the time, so I was trying to really learn myself, and I had the time to go in and learn. And like we were saying about projectors, you will not get an invitation if you don't have a skill. And this is a deep thing. Like, you are here to have a skill. You are a specialist. You know, and you have to, and even if nobody else knows this about you, you have to know this about you. And when you become that specialist, then your light turns on, and then your aura starts to stand out, and then people start to see it, and they get attracted to it, and then they invite you. So having these out-of-body experiences, you know, from, I would say, ever since I was a little child, I was having them since about 7 years old, I can remember. But I actively started doing it back in 2007. And since then, I have been actively rearranging my reality, you know, through this practice. You know, when you start to line yourself up with the higher energy within yourself, then your reality becomes the reflection of that higher energy. So the more and more, literally, this is the only reason why I started teaching the human design, was because my spirit told me that I wouldn't be able to teach the lucid dreaming thing properly until people understand themselves here. Mm-hmm. Once you understand yourself here first, you know, you pass this level, then you open up to the next level, into the more and more expanded reality. And that's when your reality starts to get magical.
Because guess what? You have a separate chart for your dream body.
Yes, you do.
So we're just talking about your waking life consciousness, this material plane. You actually, and for many people, for most people actually, most people are reflectors in their dream body, but for most of us, because the reflectors are so rare, most of us have a different aura in the dream body than in the waking life body. So by Kevone doing the projector thing and following his design and following his strategy, I started writing about this person. Meanwhile, I had never met him. I didn't know he existed. I started writing about this character, you know, having visions about this person, and I write fiction, so I thought it was an imaginary character until I met him. And we had met on other dimensions before we met in this reality, and the reason I was getting all these downloads about this person is because it was a real person. So as a projector, you, like, I don't want to be like, I want to stay real positive with it. Projectors have a real serious power, and it really behooves you to specialize, and so you can do right by people and enjoy good invitations, because a bitter projector can be extremely evil. Like, you can really wreak havoc because you have a real power. It's just not the power of life force energy, but it's a power of the guidance, which in a bitter projector can become like mind control. So if you saw like Jessica Jones, the evil guy in that story, he's definitely a projector. Like, so, you know, it's hard, but again, we talked earlier about you're going to have courage to get across the rainbow bridge. So you're going to have some time alone, and that doesn't feel good. You might feel empty. You might feel dead. You might feel tired. So take a bath, take a nap. As a projector, you can you get a nap pass. You might not get a hoe pass, but you get a nap pass.
Yes.
And sometimes some people would like to trade in the hoe pass for the nap pass sometimes, quite frankly. Because the hoe pass is not always fun, because guess what? You have a hoe pass because sometimes it's wrong as a manifesting generator. So, yeah, you get a hoe pass, but you have a lot of negative situations in the whole experience when you're like, oh, wait, I don't want to be here, but I'm here. Ugh. How do I get out of this? Yes. But yeah, you get a nap pass. So projector, if you're tired, guess what? Lie down.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, you need to do the dishes, or you don't, or you're not worth your weight in this world, I'll get to it, or I'll have to do it a little bit at a time. Let me do it at my own pace.
Yeah.
Let me rest, and I'll come back and do it at 11 o'clock tonight or whatever. Or I'll do it in the morning.
Yeah, but it'll get done.
Yeah, but you got to let the projectors do it on their own pace. So take a nap, man. take a nap, learn how to lucid dream, learn how to astral project, learn how to fix cars, learn
the non-physical part of the reality
Yeah.
that you're supposed to be mastering. We are the non-physical, metaphysical masters.
There you go.
You know, we're not in the energy, so we do have the time to do it. And this is the real reason why, we don't get invitations, because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We've been kind of pushed into working jobs, into doing just stuff that don't have anything to do with us, like our artwork or anything. So forgive yourself, forgive your parents, forgive your instructors or your leaders. Just forgive them and let it go. And remember, forgiveness is a fifth dimensional tool. This is the tool that you use on the fifth dimension to stay in the flow. The fifth dimension is all about the flow, and we're fifth dimensional ambassadors. The third dimension is the 9 to 5 crunch.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have a 9 to 5, but you don't feel crunched. And this is the difference when you move up in the frequency and the reality. You have a 9 to 5 because you're probably just dropping a bunch of jewels, or you're shining your light within this job so that you can elevate everybody within it. So it's a different level of the 9 to 5 game as your frequency increases. So just because you're working a job, it doesn't mean you're a slave or you're being tricked or you're not. It ain't got nothing to do with that. On the lower levels, yeah, but on the higher levels, when you understand who you are, you're going to be working a job that you like doing. You're going to be working with people that you love to be around, or you're going to be in a situation where you're going to notice, wow, these people really need my guidance. So they want me to work at this little job that I don't really want to wake up in the morning to go to, but I do need the money. So it's a win-win situation. So as projectors, we deal with win-win situations. And with that being said, let's...
What's that?
Reflectors.
Oh.
Because we always do the reflectors dirty, man. Like, I want to make sure I get my reflectors.
And we definitely don't want to. Okay, so... We'll leave it for private readings, and maybe for questions at the end it'll come back. But so hopefully, and no, Trump is not a projector. He's a manifesting generator, and it seems like there's interest in us doing a show about his chart. So I would like to do that, and I'd invite Kevone to join. So I think that we'll just do that because the human design will give you a really interesting, valuable perspective on who this Trump character is, and I think it will just ease a lot of people's concerns about, because there's going to be a lot of hot air with him. Don't take what he says in the moment, because he's got a defined solar plexus, so he's emotional. He doesn't have truth in the moment, and he has a defined ego. So, but that's another time.
Yeah. With just one quick little dropper for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a 1-3 profile manifesting generator. So if you know about the profiles, from getting a reading with us before, the 1-3 is the creative builder, the builder, the creative expressionist. So this dude is all about expression. This dude is all about change. He's all about being creative. So just know the energy of his energy is creativity, but it's also change and transformation
and pioneering.
So you got to know where you're at, and if you know about pioneering is never easy. It's rebuilding. It's the rebuilding phase. So it can look ugly, it can look crazy, it can look damaged, it can look jacked up, but look
at what's up top.
Look at what's up top. It's the light. So pay attention to the light. Look for the light, and you'll see it.
Yeah.